Okay, so let's go ahead and watch this video. And so I'm going to react now to this video as she's talking here. Let's go ahead and rewind this.
Requirements that you need to have in order to date me, a single mom of 3 kids.
Okay, let's stop right there. So right out of the gate, she's already given us the main reason she has disqualified herself. However, if you can believe this, the silver lining here is that as a single mom of 3, she is actually qualified to date most men out here. 90% to be exact. What most people, men and women alike, don't realize is that most men would sleep with most women, but most women would not sleep with most men. Okay, another way of saying this is that 90% of men are sexually invisible to 90% of women. Okay, we're all familiar with the Pareto principle, which I think indirectly or directly states that 20% of the men are dating 80% of the women. Now here in 2025, that number is probably a little bit closer to maybe 85-15, maybe even 90-10 if we're keeping it 100. But the fact remains is that most women are after the same men. Okay? Now, even though Ms. Rodriguez here qualifies to date most men in America, these are not the type of men she actually wants to be with. The fact of the matter is, guys, that average women want above average men, while average men are satisfied with average and even below average women. What this has done, guys, is this has created sort of a chasm between modern men and modern women. But the problem is that most women don't realize this. Ms. Rodriguez actually fixed her mouth to put out a video called Requirements to Date Me. But she's a single mother of not 1, not 2, but 3 children. Feminism, gentlemen, has deluded modern women. Feminism has deluded modern women to the point to where they confidently put out these lists of requirements to date them, not realizing that the men they want don't want them. So while Lindsay Rodriguez here is entitled to have her preferences and requirements, she needs to realize that she is automatically disqualified from being taken seriously by the men she wants to be taken seriously by. Okay, she might score a one-night stand with a man of value every so often, and she may even regularly get into situations with such men. Unfortunately for this woman, these men will never take her seriously. Her problem is that she doesn't realize it yet. Okay, she, like most modern women, think that because she can get sex from a man of value, that she can also get commitment from these men, and that's just not the case. She is so unjustly confident in her value that she actually believes that she can command the kind of attention from suitors that will eventually lead to a long-term relationship and provisioning, which is exactly why she did this video. She thinks that the men she wants also want her. She thinks that she has a lot more viable long-term options than she actually has. Why else do you think these women are constantly telling us what their demands are? They think that they have their pick of the litter and that they have men lined up around the block ready to wife them up. But in actuality, these men are lined up around the block to bang her and move on to the next delusional, low-value, low-vibrational single mother who will open her legs as soon as they lie to her and tell her they've been looking for a strong, independent woman who's a mother of 3. These women always fall for it, which, again, is why they continue to put out these lists of requirements. And remember, guys, anytime a woman gives her opinion on dating, she's never talking about the bottom 90% that is non-existent to her, okay? She's only talking about the top 10%. So when you hear a woman say, well, I need a man who is XYZ, she's assuming attraction. Let's continue.
Number 1 is that you need to be making at least $130K a year.
Oh my God.
And you need to have at least 2 side hustles. If you cannot make $130K or more, then you are out of my fucking league. How do you expect to give me money for my kids if you only make $50K a year? Second.
Okay. So she asks, how can you give me money for my kids if you only make $50K a year? That's a very good question with a very simple answer. You won't.
Nope.
It is amazing to me that these single moms out here actually think that men who make 6 figures are actually taking them seriously. This woman requires at least $135,000 a year and 2 side hustles, and he's supposed to work his tail off to make all of this money to then just turn around and give it to you simply for existing and assume that you're going to spend it on your kids, which, by the way, is not his responsibility. Never mind that 99.9% of single moms are bad mothers. But to just give these women money just because she's letting you bang her is a huge L. Let me let you guys in on a little secret, man. Any man who willingly gives a woman money for existing is already a simp. Okay? And a simp is a man who gives an undeserving woman access to his time, energy, attention, and resources. Okay? This is why most modern women are delusional. They think that they're entitled to everything that a man has to offer while not only offering nothing in return, but also bringing 3 mouths to feed, which will eventually become more expensive as they get older. But here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. Any man who is on this level that she's talking about here isn't going to give a woman like this the time of day. Like I said earlier, he may bang her a few times, but if he's making that kind of money while also having 2 side hustles, he is going to have neither the time nor the tolerance to deal with an entitled woman and her 3 bratty kids. He's just not going to do that. Why deal? In a man's mind, he says, okay, why am I going to deal with a delusional, entitled single mom of 3 when you can just deal with the younger, more compliant woman with no kids? The answer is that they don't. Unfortunately, Ms. Rodriguez here doesn't realize this, but she will eventually, as most modern women always do. Something else that is very telling about this is she's not telling us what this imaginary man will get in return. To this point, she hasn't mentioned anything about what she brings into the relationship outside of her 3 bastard children. She expects a man of value who makes $135K a year with 2 side hustles to take her seriously as a mate while offering nothing but liabilities in the form of her children. She's telling us what she wants, but she's not letting us know what we get in return for dealing with her and her children. What this is, guys, this is a mindset that is prevalent among modern women. And that mindset is that he has to prove himself to me to have a chance. The problem with this line of thinking, gentlemen, is that the basic economic principle of supply and demand. There we go. The problem with this line of thinking, guys, is that the basic principle of supply and demand means that the less available something is, the more valuable it is, right? The more valuable it becomes, while the more available something is, the less valuable it becomes. And the hard truth in 2025 here, guys, is that there are far more single moms running around than men of value. What this means for Ms. Rodriguez here is that she doesn't realize that there are not enough men who meet her qualifications to go around. And the women that do get wifed up by these guys are most definitely not single mothers. Guys, we see it on Fresh and Fit all the time with the female delusion calculator, right? If this woman actually saw the calculator in action, she should realize that she's not worth the man she wants. But like most modern women, she won't until it's too late.
Second is I don't date men that are younger than me because for obvious reasons. So if you are 26 and over, then you qualify. 26 to 35 is the age limit. Okay, I feel like 35 is pushing it because they look old as fuck already. I'm 26. I'm a baby. So yeah.
Whoa. No. Sweetheart, you are not a baby. You are a grown-ass woman who has given birth to 3 babies. You are in the age of majority, so you are no longer a minor. To me, guys, it is super creepy when women infantilize themselves. You guys remember this? Anybody who's a Gen Xer, we grew up hearing things like 30 is the new 20, 40 is the new 20, 40 is the new 30, and so on and so forth. This chick is 26. She's not even in her early 20s anymore. But she has the unmitigated gall to call herself a baby? Then comes her age requirement, which on its face isn't delusional. Okay, we all know that most women prefer to date men older than themselves. So there's nothing out of the ordinary there. But when she said that men who are 35 look old AF, this tells me 2 things about her. Number 1, she's projecting, and number 2, she's a fucking dumbass. Even feminists acknowledge that most men age much more slowly and much more gracefully than most women, provided that our diets are on point and we're training regularly. Yes, there are women in their 30s and even their 40s who look phenomenal for their age. Okay? Look, case in point, guys, I'll show you an example. This is Devin. This was Devin. Her and I, we spent some time in the hot tub. This woman is 48 years old, guys. 48 years old. Okay? She's less than 2 months away from turning 49, which is damn near 50, and has an ass like this. Okay? She has superior genetics. She works her ass off in the gym to look like this. But Devin is the exception and not the rule. We all know this to be true. But even those women, guys, even those older women who are in their 30s and 40s who look like that, even they know that they're likely too old to date men their own age. Okay? The fact that this woman sat in her car and said with a straight face that 35-year-old men are old as fuck, that just tells me she's not self-aware and isn't acknowledging a hard and fast truth about the natural aging progression of men versus women. 35-year-old men look younger than 35-year-old women. That's a fact. And if that 35-year-old woman has 3 kids and a body count higher than John Wick, who's been ran through more times than a yellow light, she's going to look a lot older than a 35-year-old man who's in great shape and lives an active, healthy lifestyle. Now, does this woman actually believe that a 35-year-old man that meets her requirements would even look at her direction? Not only that, she's overweight, guys, which means she's lazy. Look. You guys can tell that she doesn't watch what she eats. Look at her face. You can tell she doesn't watch what she eats. You know she doesn't go to the gym just by looking at her face. Her face is just a little bit chubby. Look at her fingers. Her fingers are starting to become triangular. The reason she isn't fat or morbidly obese is because she's only 26. But in a few short years, she will blow up like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, but swear up and down that she's still got it, even though men are literally looking through her to see women who are in better shape. Something else I'll point out here is that it should come as no surprise that women who, in Coach Greg Adams' astute and accurate observation, are children with breasts, call themselves babies. Remember, gentlemen, women stop maturing the very minute it becomes clear to them that men want to sleep with them. As soon as she figures this out, as soon as she figures out guys want to fuck me, the maturation process stops in its tracks. Guys, this is what explains the epidemic of super attractive women who are as dumb as a baseball bat, who also acts like a child. This woman here probably discovered that men want to sleep with her when she was 16 years old. And in a lot of cases, guys, some of them discover even sooner than that. This is why women act like children, guys. We have all been out on dates or meetups or have heard stories with women in their 20s and 30s who still act like teenagers, and many of us are confused as to why they do. Well, the answer is simple. She is a 16-year-old from the neck up, okay? Women don't start maturing again until the attention from men starts to dwindle, but they don't actually pick up at their actual age. So if she is 37 when the attention starts to dwindle, she's not going to start maturing from the age of 37. No, she'll start back where she stopped, which in Ms. Rodriguez's case is when she was 16 years old. So by the time Lindsay Rodriguez is 35 years old, she will still have the mentality of a 19-year-old. And men of value simply are not going to take a 35-year-old single mother with a net worth of $8.54 who still acts like a child seriously. Okay? And when Ms. Rodriguez here finally figures this out, she'll change her TikTok handle to dating over 35 and miserable. Let's continue.
You have to have at least 3 cars under your name. Your
What?
second car has to have 8 seats because I have 3 kids.
8 seats?
I want them to be comfortable whenever we go with you on a trip or something. You want me to come with you? I'm going to bring my kids, and you need to have enough space for my kids. So that's why I require you to have an SUV and a vehicle of your own if you're going to be dating me.
Okay, wait, I'm sorry. But according to my math, she's overshooting by, 3 seats? Right? So if you commit to this woman, it's going to be you, it's going to be her, and that's 1, 2, 3 kids. That looks like 5. That looks like 5 fingers to me. I could be wrong, but this looks like 5 fingers to me. You, her, and her 3 kids. So why does she require an 8-seat SUV when there are only 5 people to transport? Secondly, and more importantly, traveling and trips is another reason why you never take single moms seriously, much less take them on vacation. You are always going to be paying for everyone. Anytime you go to the movies, you're going to have to buy 5 tickets and 5 snacks for 5 people and snacks for 5 people. That's $150 easily. That's $150 out the gate. And guys, I don't care how much or little money you have. $150 is a lot of fucking money. Okay? I am blessed financially. Dude, I do not just willfully and wantonly hand $100 bills to people. Oh no. Anytime you go to dinner, you're paying for 5 meals. Anytime you do anything with a single mom, she is going to expect you to be okay with not only her bringing her children, but paying for them as well. This woman already thinks that she's entitled to traveling with you. So you know she's going to feel entitled to bring her children anytime you want to go anywhere or do anything. Guys, this is why we advise you to never get into a relationship of consequence with single moms. We all know it doesn't make sense relationship-wise for many, many obvious reasons. But when there are multiple children involved, committing to a single mom makes zero fiscal sense. The fact that this woman requires a man to have an SUV with 3 more seats than he actually needs, plus 2 additional vehicles, is crazy work. She said an SUV and 2 other, and here's the thing, let's not let this little detail get away. Let's not let this little detail get away. She said an SUV and 2 other cars, but she said you need to have an SUV and a car for yourself. An SUV and a car for yourself, but she says you need to have 3 cars in order to date me, right? She said that. That statement right there, gentlemen, if you're really listening and reading between the lines, that indirectly takes possession of 2 of your 3 vehicles. The SUV is to chauffeur her and her kids around. The second vehicle for you is for you, as she says. But what do you think she's thinking about car number 3? Yeah, that's going to be her car. So she wants you to have a car of your own, a car for her and her kids, and then a car for her. Yeah, good luck with that.
Another requirement is that you have to have a property under your name, and you have to be looking into getting your second property. You have to get a home that has 6 rooms, because
what?
Each of my kids have to be in their own room. So you have to be considerate, purchase a house that has 6 rooms, because that's only common sense. And if you...
Again, guys, the math ain't math in here. The math ain't math in here. Let's just go down the list. The master bedroom is where her man and her will sleep, presumably. Then she wants separate rooms for each of her children. Child number 1, child number 2, child number 3. I'm no mathematician, guys, but that's 4 rooms. That's only 4 rooms. Why does she need 2 extra bedrooms and another property? Well, it is likely for the same reason she wants you to have an 8-seat SUV and 2 additional cars, so that she can take possession of at least one of them. You think she's going to let you take those 2 additional rooms?
Nope.
Not going to happen. Then she says you need to have a property and be looking at a second property. Again, why does she need access to 2 homes? My guess is that she will use that second home to bang her baby daddies while you work your ass off to provide for her and her children. Guys, this is why women are broke. Okay? And it's also why committing to such a woman will eventually make you go broke. They expect you to allow her to live above your means. She's not worried about living above her means. She's worried about living above your means. She wants you to spend more than you make for this lifestyle. Even if this woman were 5 years younger with no children, she still isn't worth living above your means. It absolutely blows my mind that women like this actually believe that there are men out here who are willing to just give this lifestyle to women like her for quite literally nothing in return but a headache, an empty belly, and blue balls. Insanity.
You cannot meet those requirements, then you're not the fucking one. The last requirement is that it has to be pink. If it's not pink...
Oh my God.
No. Pink and brown go together. Pink and brown. What?
Oh my God.
Duvalin, you know? These are the requirements.
Guys, this is so delusional that one might actually think that this is satire. I don't know about you guys, but it is very, very difficult for me to wrap my mind around the fact that this woman is dead ass here. This bitch wants you to buy her a 6-bedroom house that is pink. But here's the real tragedy, guys. Here's the real tragedy. If she were to ever meet such a man, we know it's not going to happen. But if she were to ever meet such a man, if she were to meet this imaginary dream man who did everything she's asking for here, eventually she'd lose attraction to him and cheat her way out of the relationship. The hard truth, guys, is that men who give women everything they want, no matter what they do, do not have the respect of their women. And as we all know, a woman cannot love you if she does not respect you. Modern women have no idea that if a man gives her everything she says she wants, it will make her vagina drier than the desert. What women want and what women need are often two very different things. They're very different from one another. And Ms. Rodriguez doesn't realize this yet. In the end, guys, the solution with women like this, because we often get criticized. You guys talk a bunch of shit about women. You talk about the problems, but you don't give us solutions. I'm going to give you a solution. The solution with women like this is to simply steer clear of them until you have the game level to bang them without catching feelings or investing anything. We talk about hoes being useless, and while that's accurate, these women do serve a purpose. They're easy to bang, and you rarely have to put in much effort if you're even attracted to her like that. And look, I mean, listen, she's decent looking, I guess, from the neck up. I guess. But it looks like, you guys see this? Yeah, it looks like a double chin is already starting to emerge. But even if you're looking for sex, it is still a huge risk messing with women like this. And that's if she gives you the time of day in the first place. Gentlemen, women like this aren't worth dealing with on any level. So in order to identify these kinds of women and steer clear of them, guys, you need to get your hands on one of my very best ebooks, which is one of my very best foundational ebooks, which is 16 ways to immediately disqualify her for a long-term relationship. Okay? I had the picture. I lost it. I'll probably have it the next time. Okay? It's only $3, guys. It's $3 for this ebook. Okay? The link is in the description. You guys can get it there. But it will save you tens of thousands of dollars. Go to the link in the description and get that ebook. It will be the best $3 you've ever spent. Trust and